Hi, my name is Pam, and I'm a coach, an energy healer, an author, and a teacher. And today I am with Amira, and we'll be talking about energy healing. So, I, how many of you know what energy healing is and what it's not? There are different modalities that are similar to the kind of energy healing that I do, but there are subtle differences. So I'm going to talk about what the kind of energy healing that I do. Basically, it's energy controls everything. In our body, there are energy centers that are called chakras, and the energy flows through. And when it flows through seamlessly and smoothly, we are in great health. But when there are blocks, then the energy gets locked in and is not able to flow that freely. And that causes different health issues, which could be mental, emotional, and eventually turn into physical symptoms. So, to give you an example, in our homes, we have all kinds of equipment. We have appliances, we have bulbs and fans and other different things, the computers and different things that run on electricity. So electricity is like the energy that powers those. No matter how beautiful the fixtures are, if there is no electricity, nothing works. So energy in our bodies is like the electricity that powers us. And when we experience any traumatic symptoms, now, trauma can be defined in different ways. It can mean different things to different people. For example, like it could be as simple as, when you're a child and you're so excited about something and you go to your mom and you say, "Oh, mom, can I have that?" And she says, "No." And you could be traumatized, like, "Oh my God, my mom said no to me." And, think, "Well, I'm never going to ask her for anything." That sets up a little block. And you set up beliefs like, "Well, mom doesn't give me what I want, so I'm not going to ask her." Or traumas can be something really big, big events where you were really traumatized and abused or whatever. So any kind of trauma between the two, there's a range of things that can happen. And what that does is that sets up little blocks in the energy centers. And over time, it can go on for generations. Over time, things that we hear from our parents, things we hear from our friends or people around us, or people telling us that you're no good, you can't ever succeed, or something different, like your parents say, "Well, you have to work hard for your money. Money doesn't grow on trees." So you grow up with those beliefs, and those are energy. They set up energy blocks. You don't realize it. You don't even know it that it's happening. And a lot of times, even with the trauma, because you put it aside, you suppress it, you don't want to deal with it, it's painful, but it sets up a block. So, what that does is that triggers you each time something similar happens. And when that triggers you, you start reacting rather than responding. And with that, you start following certain patterns in your life. There could be lack of abundance, there could be lack of love, there could be, and then, or lack of success, or, when you're trying to go for a job and you feel something may hold you back, some of those beliefs like, "Oh, I'm not good enough for that," or I'm not educated enough for that, or "I don't have the right kind of degrees," or whatever. And while to a certain extent in the professional field, it is true that you need a certain, educational background to do certain jobs. But for the most part in life, you feel stuck. Like every time you try, nothing happens. And then you start to believe that, well, that's my destiny, that's not meant to be. But that's not true. What has happened is that the blocks that have been set up are triggering those reactions. So you're not even, you get to a point where you don't even try, and then, you keep explaining, but you're still frustrated and you feel stuck. So where I come in on this is, you know, work with the energy centers and we remove the blocks. Now, what's good about that is, unlike therapy, you don't have to remember what happened. You don't have to remember where it happened, how it happened, or why it happened. As long as there are blocks, what can be blocked can be unblocked. So we work with the energy and remove those blocks. Now, to remove those blocks, there are certain prerequisites. First of all, if you're feeling stuck and you want some work done to remove those blocks, you have to do a lot of self-reflection. It's not just me. I'm basically a facilitator who's sending the energy. It's like when the electricity is coming to your house and the appliances are not going to work on their own. You have to switch them on. So if you're just turning your energy off and not accepting or not open to receiving, it's not going to work. So it is important that you understand that uh, you have to be open and receptive. It's like inviting somebody into your home and not opening the door for them. They're not going to be able to get in, you know? So participation is very essential on your part. Um, and you have to be an active participant, kind of give feedback and see what happens. Uh, Sometimes it can work immediately, depending on the blocks, because if there are generational blocks and you're not aware and they're very solid because they've been there for so long, it'll obviously take a longer time. But if there are some that you've been working on, even if you've been working on unconsciously, taking all these meditation courses or other self-reflection, you've done a lot of self-reflection, and you've also kind of becoming self-aware, or like, why are these patterns happening, and you're questioning it, so you're in the process, so it'll probably happen a little faster. As far as like how many sessions you might need, it's unique to everyone. There is no one right or wrong answer. There is no one right or wrong, pattern. And there's no specific time for, like, oh, I can get rid of it in 3 sessions, I can get rid of it in 5 sessions. No, it is unique to everyone. And some of the stuff that you may have suppressed, when it starts to surface, you may get uncomfortable with it because you thought you had buried it. But now, like the peeling of an onion, the layers, you peel one layer and another one surfaces. So that may happen. So you need to understand that as things are shifting, there may be a little bit of an uncomfortable situation for you. But if you're prepared to kind of deal with it and go with it and release it, then you can benefit from that. So the way I work with it is, instead of just dealing with the fruit, we go to the root. Now, if there's a plant and that you don't like the leaves or the flowers or the fruit, and you remove those, you deal with that, but they'll keep coming back unless we go to the root of the problem. So this is what I do. And we go to the root of the problem, and then and that's why it takes a little longer sometimes, and we go in a lot deeper. Again, it is, you have to see what your comfort level is, and you have to see what you are ready to accept, and how willing you are to kind of participate. And yeah, so, that's the basics of what energy healing is.
Yeah, you've explained it very well. Um, when before I had an energy healing session with you, I wasn't quite sure about what it was because I hadn't had an energy healing session before then. But the way you explained it about the energy centers and how the energy is flowing, there can be blocks that develop over time
Mhm.
from any type of trauma, as you've mentioned. So I had a question as you were explaining, and the question is it fair to say that any type of limiting belief is an energy blockage of some sort? That's the first part of the question. And the second part of the question is, um, what if you have a limiting belief that energy healing doesn't work for you? Because I've seen some people mention things like, energy healing doesn't work for me. I've tried this before, this, that. And when I read those comments or when I see those things, my immediate thought is maybe you have a limiting belief that it doesn't work for you, and that's why it doesn't.
That's a great question, Amira. And it is definitely true that limiting beliefs will limit. And this is why I said what you're ready to accept and receive. Because a limiting belief says, oh, it doesn't work for me. I tried it. But did you reflect enough to see if you were blocking the workings of the energy? That is another block. And that is what we were talking about abundance. The limiting belief that, oh, money doesn't grow on trees, and or you have to work really hard for the money. You have to work well. You have to work. Um, Universe it gives you ample this thing, and universe always answers your. It manifests for you what you ask for. So if you're already believing that, it doesn't work for me, I'm not going to receive the healing that I'm looking for, that is half the battle. You've already sort of blocked it out. So it is important that you reset your mind. Ask yourself, go down the rabbit hole. Why do I believe it won't work for me? What is holding me back? Where did I pick up this belief that this won't work for me? And then that can take you to, because either a friend told you it didn't work for her, so you think it won't work for you, or you felt that you were not open enough, or you kind of tried to suppress what was coming up because it was too painful. So it may take a little longer, but once you have that mind shift, it will work. There is no this thing. It's like the sun will shine. If you draw the curtains, you won't see it. You see? So that is something that, again, you would need to participate in and be open to kind of receiving. It's like, when you've been in the dark for a long time, um, you can wear dark glasses when you come out, or you can kind of peek through a hole and then gently let yourself out to let the sunshine in. So as things are surfacing, be gentle with yourself. There's a lot of self-care that you would need to do. When I first started, the first couple of healings that I received, I fell asleep. I slept through them. And the reason is that whatever was surfacing was so intense that I was not consciously ready to deal with it. That happens, and it's okay. So just accept that it always works. You may not think that it's working, but it works, but it may not be the way you think it should work. That's again another, sort of another block where you expect it to work a certain way, and if it's not working that way, you think it's not working.
Yeah. So I'm also hearing from this. So there's two parts of it. The one is understanding the limiting belief and
Mhm.
getting to the root of the belief systems, if it's the case that you are blocking the healing from that belief system. And the second
Mhm.
part of it is um, kind of like I don't know what the right word to use is, maybe like a surrender of some sort, or some kind of letting go of control, or holding on so tightly to an idea or something, where you cannot fully release yourself of that controlling
Mhm.
structure. Like,
Mhm.
if you can just kind of let go, surrender to the healing, surrender to the energy work being done, you probably get better results than if you are so strong on your beliefs of like, we'll see if this is going to work, and like being so I don't know what the word is, but I'm getting this feeling of tenseness, you know?
Yeah, no, I get that. And the thing is that a lot of people live in their heads. Because it's now our minds are designed to keep us safe as we journey through this, our life in this physical dimension. Our minds are there to protect us and tell us, oh, this is safe. Or last time you did this, you got hurt, so don't do that. But your heart is open. So if you close your heart because you fear that you might get hurt, it's not going to work. You're not letting the energy flow through. So you have to start to balance the mind and the heart, where you kind of put aside your mind and let the mind know it's okay, it's safe, this is, it's not going to hurt you. And again, surgery, when you've had surgery, they keep you pumped with all these painkillers. But as you start to heal and they lower the doses of the plain painkillers, that's when you feel the most pain. You see, so as it's as surfacing and you're starting to deal with it, you may feel the most pain at that time. And and things will start shifting. Like for example, one of my other lady in my class, she was talking about she did a healing on her friend, and her friend was like so upset because everything in her life was topsy-turvy after that. But you see, there's to have a shift, to break those blocks, something needs to shift. And when it shifts, we just look at that and we think that, oh my God, everything's going wrong. But you have to get past that. You have to look past that. Um, it may be a gross example, but if you have a pimple, when the pus forms and it's all the gunk starts to come out, that's when the healing starts as well. But you have to deal with the gunk that's coming out. You see? So similarly with energy healing, it's like surgery on your energetic body. So you have to rest. You have to follow the dictates of your body. Because if you say, oh my God, I'm going, and we are so busy doing that we forget to be, so we have to kind of allow that and be patient with ourselves. And there's also lag time. If the blocks are very solid and we do the energy work, it's going to take a while for the shift to take place and for you to feel, because in the energetic body, it happens immediately. But in the physical body, when you feel it, there's a lag time. You feel it a little later, maybe the next day, maybe 2 days later. I did a healing on a friend, and she felt really good after I did the healing. And then we were supposed to do another healing, and she said, like 3 days later, she messaged me that she says, "Oh, can we do it in a couple of weeks because something surfaced and I'm not ready to deal with it yet." So that took time for something else to surface. So as long as you understand that, and this is why I said it's unique to everyone. We cannot say that, oh, this is how what's going to happen, that's what's going to happen. Any of these things can happen, and any combination of these things can happen. But then eventually you get to a point where it literally flows through. And I've been doing it for more than a year now. I've been studying it and I've been working and, kind of practicing. When I first started, it would take a while because I was having a lot of physical symptoms with things that were surfacing and stuff. And now recently we did a healing, and I received a healing for a physical problem that I was having. And it went right through because now I've opened up my energy centers to a point that the energy flows right through. And this physical symptoms that came up, it was kind of resolved, you know. And then once again, I'd like to mention one more thing is that it's not like a one and done thing. We can work on the blocks, we can remove the blocks, but after that, there has to be maintenance. It's like you can't take a shower one day and say you're done for the rest of your life, you know? So, similarly, I mean, you can kind of remove the blocks, reach a point, reach a level of elevating your frequency and your vibration to where you're functioning a lot more efficiently, and things are starting to open up for you, abundance, the relationships, finances, whatever your blocks have been, they're opening up. But then you also need to maintain, because we are human. We're not immune to the human experience just because we are working on the energetic body. So things still keep coming up. You know, people may say something that may hurt you, and then that again sets up a mini block. But then those are easy to kind of remove because now that you're aware and you're working with it. And so this is what we do with our group. And, we go and say, okay, I need a healing. Can somebody do a healing on me? You know, so it has to be interactive. And let's say you start off with 3 or 5 sessions and we remove a lot of the major blocks. And after that, the maintenance can be like once a month or once as you need. So it doesn't have to be, so many more sessions, but it can be on as needed basis as you feel that. Because I see, like, a lot of things are shifting in the universe right now. A lot of traumatic events are happening, there's wars and everything. And if you have some loved ones in that area, you're stressing out. At work, you're stressing out, or with your children, or something or the other is happening. Life is happening, basically. So as that's happening and it starts building up, you get to a point of, oh my God, I need to take a break. Can I get a healing? There you are. And then again, like I said, that it's more maintenance, it's as needed. And then you can also kind of learn. I also sort of share different tools that you can use on your own to kind of release that, so it's not building up to that level again.
That was very informative. Thank you for sharing that with me, Pam. I have one more question before we finish up for today, and that
Mhm.
is, does energy healing only work with a person and for a person if they are giving you permission to work on them? Because I know you mentioned in the beginning you need to be forthcoming. But what if, for example, you know someone who is maybe very ill and they cannot give their permission or consent to be healed energetically? Could you heal that person or work on them in terms of energy healing, or no, not at all?
Okay, if let's say if somebody's in a coma or somebody is not able to voice what their intention is, I believe if a loved one who's taking care of them, especially if it's a child, I mean, the parent has to give permission. But if it's an adult who's not able to, express that, then you have to ask somebody. Like, yeah, similarly, I had a situation where a friend's mom had had a stroke and she was not able to participate. But I talked to the daughter, daughter talked to her mom, and the mom kind of nodded. She wasn't able to say anything, but the daughter conveyed that to me, and then I was able to do the healing. The other thing we could do is if there's no way to get permission, then we can basically send them love and light, but we cannot do an actual healing on them without consent.
Okay, that's good to know. Well, thank you so much, Pam. I look forward to our next discussion where we're going to get a little bit deeper into the energetics of the actual energy healing and how it all works and comes together. So, thank you so much for teaching me today about
Thank you,
energy
Mary.
healing.